Alright, hi guys. So in this episode, I would want to do, I would like to show you guys how to do custom models over weapons today. So main thing I'd probably suggest starting out with is look over any weapon that you want to replace in game, and then try to match a weapon with like a similar silhouette so that in game it looks normal. Uh, Obviously, that's probably what we would want. You can put a model over anything, any weapon. Um, I suppose it's just up to you at the end of the day if that's what you want. But for this example, I'm going to put the Monado from Xenoblade Chronicles over the Shire Bayonet here. So, yeah. First thing you want to do is just export your model from TexTools. So all we're going to do is just click Save As FBX. And we want to copy this path. So I'm going to do copy and save it. And I'm just going to replace it because I've already saved it. Next, we're going to go ahead and open up Blender. I'm just going to press A, then X to delete everything. And then we will import our file. And there you go. You have your weapon inside of Blender here. So at this point, I'm gonna just make a quick collection for our separated weapon. And then at this point, you just import whatever weapon or model you like to use. So you'll just go ahead and use that in the file system. I'm just going to import where mine is, which is on my desktop. And alright, there we go. So I'm going to turn off my gunblade because it's kind of getting a little bit in the way right now. And then we are just here with our Monado model here. So the thing about this model is that this is actually an older project that I wanted to redo for Dawn Trail. So just for the sake of the video, I'm going to delete the armature and I'm going to clear the modifiers on here. Oops. And I'm also going to just destroy all the vertex groups, just so that we're starting from scratch with a blank model, essentially. So this model is comprised of 3 different parts. We have the glow, we have the symbol inside of the middle of it, and then lastly we have the actual blade itself. And at this point, all we would need to do is just combine all your meshes, so you can do Control J. And then at this point, we just want to make sure we're getting our, we want to tweak our mesh so that it looks right over whatever we're putting it over. So I'm going to go into wireframe mode, and if you know how gunblades look in Final Fantasy, the character is usually going to put their hands somewhere at like the base of this hilt right here. And here, I'm actually going to use this annotate tool. Okay. So we know that the character is going to put their hands somewhere here. And then in the idle pose, they usually rest the back of the gunblade here on their back as well. So if we look at the Monado in this instance, the actual blade kind of goes like this, but then we could have the back right here essentially. So it's already lined up pretty well, but if you're thinking about it, think about the weapon that you have and how it is going to look over whatever weapon you're putting it over. So I'm going to do Control Z just to move this back. And then next, at this point, I'm just going to press Tab to go into edit mode. Go to wireframe mode, holding Z. And I'm going to press A. So now I'm selecting all my vertices, and I'm just going to scale this just a little bit. And I'm going to hold G just to move this around to the base, sort of. And like I said, you want to just get it over the weapon the best you can. This obviously is not one-to-one with the Gunblade. It has a very different profile than it, but you can still see that the handle lines up quite nicely, so that in-game it should look pretty good when we use it. And you can see this like end of the handle here lines up pretty well, and so does most of the actual blade itself. That part shouldn't matter too much, but really just lining up the handle is like the important part, so that the character is, you know, actually holding it properly. So this should be good. Yeah, so after that, I'm going to actually look at the mesh for this Gunblade, and we can see that it only has one vertex group because it's just a weapon. Only has, I think, one bone, yeah. So I'm going to copy the name of this N Hara bone, or I'm sorry, vertex group, and we're going to add that onto our weapon as well. A quick thing we want to do is we want to press Tab, press A to get all the vertices selected, and we want to make sure we assign it to this vertex group. So now all of these vertices are assigned to this group, so it will work with this bone. That's all you really need to know about that. Okay, and after that, we also need to give it a modifier. So if we search armature, and at this point, we would like to turn on the bone once again. So you can see this bone controls the Gunblade. Let's go back to our weapon. We're going to use the eyedropper tool. Select the bone, which is what I just did there. And now that it has a vertex group and an armature, we can now put it inside of the Gunblade collection. Delete this old one. And we left click, unhold, and then hold shift, left shift, and we put it under the armature. You can see it nicely moves. Okay, so at this point, you'll want to get your textures ready so that we can head into TexTools. I'm going to copy, the last thing we need to do is separate our materials and name them. So I'm going to copy the name of the Gunblade, press X, and we can delete it. And we can see this is still moving perfectly fine. The last thing we want to do is press Tab. Oops. Should I Control Z, sorry. Press Tab, press A to select all of them. Then we press P to separate by material. And now we can start renaming all of our meshes to part. You can have them named whatever you'd like, but you need to make sure you have part and then separate it by a number for each material. So for this first part, I'm just going to do part 0. For the glowing lines, I'm going to do part 1. So you go in like ascending order. And then lastly, for the little disc or the circle for the Monado art, I'm going to do part 2, just like that. And you should be good at this point. We can essentially just take it into, we can export it. So I'm going to press A to highlight all, and do File, Export, and we want to do FBX. And you just put it to wherever you'd like. And I'm going to just name it Monado underscore like 14 for Final Fantasy 14. It doesn't really matter. And now it is exported. And at this point, I will see you guys over in TexTools where we will set up the materials. Alright, hi. I probably just spent the last hour troubleshooting some issues, so I'm finally glad it's over. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, if you guys have any issues with the texturing here, just make sure to check your UV map before going in, because here, I'm gonna like see if I can go back and show you guys what it was looking like. Sorry, bear with me here. If it'll go all the way back. Okay, so the UVs were like this, and they're shifted to the side. They need to be just shifted over to the correct spot, so you hold control. Just make sure your UVs are looking good is all I'm really trying to say. I'm gonna not save this. But anyways, on to this. So just load up your model. Here's mine. Sorry, before we do that, we actually need to make the materials. So we're just gonna go to new material, create. I'm just gonna use the specular for mine. And make sure you do load color set so it clears out any of the color set info essentially. And we'll do make textures unique and save. And then we're just gonna do that 2 more times. So load preset, specular, color set, load, make unique, save. And then we'll do 1 more. Preset, specular, load color set, load, make unique, save. Okay. So now we can basically start getting everything where it needs to go. So we'll load our model, open editor to assign the materials. So that's good, that's good. And that's, sorry. Part 1 we'll do B. Part 2 we'll do C. And D we'll do 3. Alright, hi guys, sorry. I'm cutting in here really quick because I made a pretty critical error in the middle of editing this video, and I realized something that I want to talk about. So at this section in the video, we're basically importing the model into TexTools and working on the materials. If you get any of these yellow errors here, you should probably resolve them. If not, you're definitely going to get some weird things happening in game. So really quick, I'm just going to show basically what this is, these errors that I got, and how I fixed them. These are basically referring to the vertex, like alpha channel, the vertex color channel. This is basically just saying that like your model is going to be invisible in game if you don't resolve these errors. So I'm going to show really quick how I did it for this model, and then we'll continue with the rest of the video. So really quick, I'm just going to go ahead and open up TexTools, wait for this to load. And then I'm going to go to the item I had, which is here. And it looks fine in TexTools, but in game this would be completely invisible. So what we did was we loaded it up. I'm going to go to the Monado, and then we do load model. And you can see we have those errors, right? So all of these. Basically, what you need to do to clear these errors, and at least for the vertex alpha and color channel ones, is you'll need to go to each material here and or whatever materials the error is causing. So in this instance it's this one, the glow, and then it's also this one, which is the like actual like sword part, this black part right here. So to clear those errors, you have to go and do edit model, and you go to what material it's assigned to. So D was this black part of the blade. You go to modify mesh and vertices. You want to do clear vertex color, clear alpha, clear vertex color 2, and then just for good measure, clear UV2 as well. And you just press done, confirm, and save. Just like that. And you're gonna want to do that for, you're also gonna want to do it again for any other materials that have that. Oh, you can just do this option too. Yeah, modify all vertices. You could also do modify mesh vertices, modify all vertices, but these options will work. Just make sure you're clearing the second UV and clearing these vertex colors if you get that error. If you don't get this error, you don't need to do this part, but I needed to do it. Because if you don't, the model is going to be invisible in game and you're going to be going like, what the heck? So I just want to put this in here really quick. Sorry, I just had to turn Discord on Do Not Disturb and then close. And at this point we can just start assigning our textures. I just have to double check to make sure I have everything that needs to be. I believe that this one was the actual weapon. So let me just double check really quick. Yeah, so that's the actual weapon itself, so we'll finish this one up. So do normal. And we'll put our specular on. It's actually roughness for this model, but it should work fine just for the sake of the mod. And then lastly, index. I'll just load in a index from our last tutorial. Whoops. Did not mean to open Godot there. Close that out. Sorry about that. I don't actually know which part this is. Let me try this. Okay, perfect. That part is what we want it to be. So for the symbol, we can just keep reusing the texture. I'm just going to use it pretty much just for every part on here. Actually, for specular, I can just use a white texture. And then index will load up our index texture. Let me see. Yeah, so that should look good. We're going to edit this in game to make it like glow and look nice and cool. And then lastly for B, this is the actual like glowing line part. So we can just use this. The normal should stay the same. And keep the specular, so we'll just do the index. And we're pretty much good to go. That's all we really need for now. So now we can do save to XIV. At this point we can just create our mod pack from items. Do Shire Bayonet. Do all files. Final review. Just name this Monado. Just do that. Monado 14. Save it. And we should be good to go. I'll go head on to 14. I'll meet you guys over there. Alright, so for the last part of the video, after you import your model in game, it should be working. For this model in particular, since I was going to add some glow parts to it, I'm just going to do it in Glamour, but you can also use VFX Editor, the plugin, this one right here, VFX Editor. You can pretty much just search it on Google. There's just a whole GitHub page for it that you can get. That is if you wanted to include the glowing into your mod natively, but for me I'm just going to use Glamour. Just because it will be easier for this demonstration. So if I go to my equipment, and if I use Glamour and I hover over Open Advanced Dyes, we can now use this little like target area, and it will just highlight that part. So if we want to do this blue part, we go to Emissive. And you can just change it to whatever color you'd like. It's really just up to your own personal preference at this point. So I'm just gonna do like just some random colors for this. And then you can see here that it says like this material does not exist, but this is just for each material slot. So like you can see this part's the like symbol, this part's the glowing lines, and this last one should be the actual base sword itself. So if we go to this one, should be right here, I believe. I don't think any of these other ones control it. But yeah, I'll just go here, change it to some random color. I'll just do red, just for the sake of this. And these are diffuse, specular, and emissive. Normally you'd really only need to do emissive, but if you want to change the light on here, you could do specular. And also you could change it to diffuse if you just want it to be like a darker red or something, or whatever color you have. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. If you guys have any questions, just leave them in the comments, and I'll try to get back to you guys. And that'll be it for now, so thank you for watching.